Sure, I'm an alcoholic. Welcome, everyone. Congratulations to you who have any amount of time. My sobriety date is August 16th, 2010. That's also my clean date. Um, let's see, I have a sponsor. I've worked the steps. I've taken people through the steps, and I have two home groups right now. One of them is in the UK, thanks to Zoom. And one of them is around, like in my neighborhood, it's College Bay Young People's meeting at Thursday nights. And I'm just really thankful to be a member of this program. Like, if you're new and you haven't heard it yet, Alcoholics Anonymous can save your life. Sorry, let me say that again slowly. If you're new and you haven't heard it yet, Alcoholics Anonymous can save your life, and you never have to drink again. You never have to do drugs again. You don't have to do any of it again. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my story, but if you really want to know how we do it, get a sponsor and work the steps. So my sobriety date, August 16th, 2010. A week prior to that, I had left my job in the middle of a workday because I was having a drug-induced, alcohol-induced kind of hallucination episode. One of my coworkers was like, she saw that I was kind of in distress as I was leaving the door, that I was kind of acting wacky. And they asked me if I was like, if I was okay. They asked me if I needed to go like hang out with them after work or stay overnight with them. And I said, you know what? I'm having a hard time being able to distinguish what's real right now. I'm really afraid that I might hurt you or your animals, so I don't want to be around you. I don't want to be around people right now. I've just got to go. I ended up leaving my office and like thinking that people were following me. I had like these delusions that I thought were real. I would go into restaurants and then I would do a change of clothes in their bathroom and then I would come out. All of this because of like drugs and alcohol and its impact on my life. I had my best thinking at that moment was that, the game is up. I don't know what to do anymore. Like I can't tell what's real anymore. So I'm just going to kill myself, right? If I can't use the way that I want to, if I can't live the way that I want to, if I can't solve this problem by myself, then I might as well end it because it's game over for me, right? So fortunately, what ended up happening was like, I was exhausted. Thank God I wasn't in my right mind. And thank God that he was watching out for me because like I sat down on a park bench in the middle of Yerba Buena Gardens in San Francisco. And I was like, you know what, God, I'm too exhausted to figure out how to get to the Golden Gate or how to get on top of one of those skyscrapers. Can you please just give me a police officer or someone that I can trust, that I can turn myself into? And then I'll, whatever, right? This was me with a conditional surrender, right? I wasn't willing to surrender completely. I still thought that I had, because I just wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to the idea of surrender. I wasn't used to the idea that I could just let go and be okay, right? What ended up happening was I got so tired and I was still so kind of crazy that I was like, you know what? I'm going to try one of my old drinking tricks, which was that basically if I was kind of effed up and I didn't want to go home, I would go into a movie theater and just sleep it off for a couple hours, right? And that was one of the tricks that I had in the city of San Francisco, which was like, oh, instead of like getting a hotel room and I only needed it for a couple hours, that's what I would do. And so I found a movie theater, and while I was waiting for the elevator to take me to the 7th floor where it was at or something, this really attractive person came along. And I like to say that my God speaks to me in the language that I can understand. And I understand hot guy. That is the language that I understood at the time, which was that this guy's really hot. I'm going to die anyway. I'm probably going to kill myself tonight. So let's just flirt with this person. And I started flirting with them. And like, what was amazing to me, because like, I hadn't slept for a couple of days. I was having hallucinations. I probably looked crazed, but this person was picking up what I was putting down. And then like, as we both got in the elevator to go to the movie theater, I realized I had like a moment of clarity. I was like, dude, there's no way that I can do what I was like, you know what? I'm just going to come clean with this guy. Hey dude, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to lead you on, but like I've been doing drugs and alcohol for like the last couple days. I haven't been sleeping well. I just left my work. I think I'm having a psychotic break. I'm having these illusions, or I mean, like I can't tell what's real right now. And I think the police might be following me, but I'm not sure if that's a delusion. And this really nice hot guy was like, why don't you just come stay with me for a couple days and we'll figure it out. And I was like, okay, higher power. That was like the first, like, again, my higher power meets me where I'm at. And when I reach out to them and I ask them for help, they can help me. And like, I would like to say is like that your higher power will help you in the ways that you can receive it. And so like, just be open to that, right? That was like my first taste of what surrender could do. And, I ended up, August 16th, 2010 was the day that I was institutionalized, right? And the jails, institutions, and death, that is like, if we're lucky, that is our destiny, right? There are other unlucky destinies out there. And when I went into that institution, let me just first say that I did my best to try to drink and control. I mean, to try to control my drinking prior to that. I tried to solve everything on my own. I had a conversation with one of my roommates who was a very popular, very active partier and who was like well-known in their Burning Man scene. And I kind of told them what was going on with me. And they were like, oh, dude, yeah, I've done those drugs before. You know what? And I've drunk like you before. You just need to learn either how to control your drinking and using, or you have to stop. And obviously I couldn't stop. And then the other thing that I tried to do was like, I tried to, drugs and alcohol were my higher power, but then I tried to find other people who could be my higher power. I could try to find other solutions. So I talked to my doctor and I was like, do you have a pill that I could take that will make me like drink normally, that will make me use normally, or just like not want to use? And I mean, do you have like a pill? Like, I mean, does Wellbutrin work for that, or like Lexapro? And so, like, this is where I was at right that, like, I thought I could only trust what I could hold in my hand. Alcohol, drugs. I could only trust these things. And I thought that I could control who I was through these things. So that's why I went to a doctor, because I was just like, if these things, which are street illegal, won't work for me, maybe you have something that can work for me, because I don't want to have to turn to a spiritual solution. Right? I didn't even know that that was an option. When someone once asked me, are you in the rooms? I was just like, the rooms? Is that a sex club? What is that? And so, I mean, like, I was just so, I refused to see that there was help available. I would refuse to see that there were other options besides being a drug addict and an alcoholic. The other thing that, just another aspect of it was like, one of my friends gave me some ultimatums. They had this really cool person that I had loved since like I met them in college. They sat me down, we had dinner, and they're like, dude, so about your drinking and using, I really don't like where it's taking you, and I don't want to see you destroy yourself. If you can't stop doing it, I'm just going to have to, I can't be around you. And what I heard from them is, I can't be around you, because I didn't understand that I had a choice, because it didn't feel like a choice to me. Just like I can't change my skin color, my sexual orientation, or make myself more masculine, I cannot, in my mind, not do drugs and alcohol. So I didn't understand that I had a choice at that time. When I finally was in the hospital on August 16, 2010, what was amazing to me was I was safe. I was safe. I felt so safe when I walked in there, because I was like, even if I wanted drugs, even if I wanted alcohol, there wasn't going to be any way for me to get that. And it just felt I could just breathe a sigh of relief. It felt like a pressure was off of me. It felt like I surrendered again, right? I kind of told you about that feeling of surrender that I had in the elevator. Now I had a different level of surrender there. And then while I was talking to them or something like that, it had come up that I was there, that it was a program of total abstinence. And in my mind, I was like, I thought I was only here for this thing. I didn't realize that I wouldn't be able to like drink or like you know, do pot every once in a while. But you know what? Even before that argument started happening in my head, I was like, you know what? I enjoy this feeling of surrender. Let's just, whatever it takes, I'm here to do whatever it takes to stay sober. Whatever it takes to stay clean, I'm going to do it. Because obviously I don't know how to do it because I've been trying for years. So I don't know anything. Maybe these people might know. And well, the other thing that I thought was really cool was these people from Alcoholics Anonymous came to the hospital and they brought recovery with them, right? The hospital was a clinical setting, but these people, they took the 12 steps, they took their recovery and they brought it into the hospital to share it with these people like myself who had no effing clue how to stay sober, no effing clue what life could even look like without drugs or alcohol. And one of the things that I heard them say was, you know, this man said 1 is too many and 1,000 is not enough. And I understood immediately what he meant, because like for me, it isn't the last drink that gets me drunk. it's the minute that I put a substance or put alcohol into my body, I cannot guarantee when I will stop, how many what I will have, and what I will have done that night, right? You know, I think you all know what I'm talking about, like those nights where you wake up with the wrong person next to you the next day, or like you look in the mirror and you're like, how did that bruise get there? You know, weird stuff. So I started to trust Alcoholics Anonymous because of what I was seeing there. I would go to meetings and without understanding what was going on, I did understand that there were people in those meetings that were sober. And there were people in those meetings that looked healthy. And there were people in those meetings that had something I hadn't had in a long time, which was this feeling of hope. And this feeling of not being hungry or thirsty. Like the first 2 years, it was really rough because I felt that some nights I would want to just jump out of bed and leave the house and like go score or go get drunk. And like, I would literally have to hold on to my bread and just like pray and just like hope that the hunger, that the thirst would just die down. And I'm really thankful because I haven't had that in a long time. Like I haven't had the hunger and the thirst in a long time. And, you know, I attribute that to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and all the cool shit that I learned here. Like the things that they told me in early recovery saved my life. And those things are go to meetings, get a sponsor, fellowship, work the steps. And the other things, like some of the more pragmatic things that they told me were just like, get some phone numbers and make phone calls. Call 3 people in recovery every day, right? Make friends with people in recovery. The only thing, I talked to my sponsor and he was like, the only thing that you have to change is everything, right? You know, okay, let me just look at the time here. So just make sure. Actually, wait, how many more minutes do I have? 5 after the hour?
I sent you a message in the chat.
Okay, 5 after the hour, thank you. When I initially came here, I didn't realize what this program was. I didn't understand, like I initially thought that this program was just about like stopping alcohol, stopping drugs, right? Just like, that's what I initially thought that it was. I didn't realize that it could potentially be like a way better life. I didn't understand that. Well, because like when you take away the drugs, when you take away the alcohol, all I had left were a set of maladaptive behaviors that I had, taken on to kind of survive in this life. And I was still picking fights with people at work. I was still kind of like itchy in my own skin. And that stuff didn't go away until I started like getting further and further into the steps. I don't know that we'll have time to go deep into that, but I think that that's something that you can only really, it's experiential. So if you don't have a sponsor yet, stick around after the meeting, ask us and and we can help you find a sponsor, right? If I can just tell you that for me, my relief came after giving my 5th step to my sponsor. Like I had written down the steps. I mean, I had written down my resentments. I had written down my fears as part of the 4-step. I had done all these things, but it only happened like when I started working with my sponsor and talking to them about what I had done. They made it really clear what my part was in this. They helped me to identify what those maladaptive behaviors that I talked about, what those instincts gone awry, what those defects were. They helped me to identify them. And in the process of doing that, that prepared me for other things like asking for my higher powers help to remove, to lessen, to like work with my defects and make it more useful, like make me more useful to of service to others. And so, yeah, I mean, like the other thing that was super helpful for me was actually taking people through the steps, sponsoring people. That took my relationship with recovery to a whole new level. When I actually started taking people from a space of where I was, where they just were itchy in their own skin, wanted to drink and use, and it took them to a place of like serenity. That, you know, that is something that this program offers people that I don't see that in a lot of other spaces. This program offers people hope. You guys, you understand my hunger, you understand my thirst, and you understand a lot of my pain because we've kind of like, these are the pains that come with drugs and alcohol, but you also understand my hope. You also understand like serenity. You also understand what can happen as a result of working the steps and having a program, right? And when I hear the message of recovery in meetings through the speaker and through the sharers, that it's like a spiritual or like a religious experience for me. And that's one of the reasons I keep coming back. I keep coming back because for me, you guys represent the voice of God, and you guys can send me into a space of like, I don't know, you get me out of self, you get me out of stuckness, and you give me, you know, that's what this program means to me. So, you know, I hope you guys have heard something useful here. If you haven't heard anything, please keep coming back. Please stay. You don't have to leave. Just trust God, work with others, and clean house. Thanks.